Our next teller for the evening is Ashley Burney. Ashley is a life and business transformation coach, a native of New Haven. She has devoted her life to fulfilling her purpose of bringing joy and fulfillment into the lives of every person with whom she comes in contact. I love that. So in addition to coaching, she's also a special ed teacher with Achievement First in Bridgeport Academy Middle School. Happy to hear from you. Welcome, Ashley.
All right, guys, I'm a little nervous, so bear with me. Wow, when they say we have a lot in common, wow, we really do have a lot in common. So like she said, I was born and raised in New Haven, Connecticut. When I was younger, I had such a huge imagination. Coming from, I was the youngest of 6 children, so you have to have a huge imagination. And when I was younger, I had imaginary friends. But it wasn't like your typical imaginary friend, it's like an invisible person that you're talking to. I think now there's like a diagnosis for that, if you're talking to somebody else. But my imaginary friend actually lied in the double mirror of the apartment that I grew up in. So every morning I would go in the bathroom and I would greet my imaginary friends. So I say, hi Ashley, hi Lily. So I wasn't that original. But I would just be like, how are you doing? You're so beautiful, you're bright, you can do anything you set your mind to. And I would literally be in the bathroom for sometimes minutes, sometimes hours until someone kicked me out. And being the youngest of 6 children, you can just imagine my siblings were like, all right, there's something wrong with this one. You guys may have messed up. But what I didn't realize though at the time was I wasn't speaking to my imaginary friends, but rather I was doing something called positive affirmations. So I was actually speaking life into me. I was building myself up and reminding myself of how great I am and how I can do anything I set my mind to. And it's so crazy how this mirror will become symbolic for my life, throughout my life and later. Because growing up, I did everything that I thought I was supposed to. I went to school, I got good grades, I stayed out of trouble for the most part, with the exception of a situation that happened when I was in 6th grade, but I'll spare you the details. And so I really just did everything that I thought I was supposed to. And when it was time for me to apply for colleges, there was no doubt in my mind, I'm going to college. And so I applied to 7 schools, I got in all of them, and when I was trying to figure out what I wanted to major in, my mom's like, go in the medical field, that's where the money is. So I said, all right, I'll go in the medical field, I'll become a doctor, I'll be a pediatrician. And I majored in biology. But the thing about that is, you actually have to be good at science, and I wasn't. It was the first time in my life that I actually experienced failure. I got my first F when I was in college, and I found myself just really, really trying. I would take the easier biology classes, failed that one, took the plant-based one, failed that, office hours, tutoring, and nothing was working. It was just F, 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 and I'm like, all right, so I'm trying so hard for this thing, and in my mind, I think I can do it. I think I can be a doctor, but it's just not working. So it was a moment where I had to really just take a step back and really figure out what it was that was making me try and go for this thing so much. And I realized that a lot of it had to do with the fact that I was trying to please my mom. She was a CNA, so of course she's going to medical field. My older sister had been a CNA. My other sister, who was closer in age with me, she was a CNA, and then she had all of these certifications, phlebotomy license, and after she was CNA, she went back to school. She's now an LPN. Now she's in school currently to be an RN. So it's like I found myself trying to like follow in that footsteps, but I realized that that wasn't what was going to make me happy. And so I changed my major, and not only that, like the thing about going to be a doctor, you actually like need to enjoy being in the medical field, being in hospitals. I don't like hospitals. I hate the smell of it. The sight of blood. I remember I used to work in an after-school program, and one of the kids I got a nosebleed, and I just freaked out. I didn't know what to do. So like, yeah, you can't be a doctor. So when I changed my major, I didn't tell my mother right away. She actually found out when I was in the dentist's office, preparing to get my wisdom teeth extracted, and that's when she found out that I changed my major. But she was upset, but eventually she got over it because she realized that I had to choose my own path. So, like I said, back to the drawing board. Okay, maybe I'll be a marriage and family therapist. I'm good at giving relationship advice. I can do it. Think about that. I was good at giving relationship advice, but I wasn't so good at taking my own relationship advice. So now it's just like, man, I'm trying all of these things, nothing's working. And I'm listening to all of these voices telling me, go this way, go that way. I said, you know what, I need to take a semester off. And everyone's like, don't take a semester off. The longer you're out, the more you're not going to want to go back. And I said, no, at one point, at some point I have to stop and listen to myself. So I took that semester off, and it was probably the best decision that I could make, because it gave me the time to just be still, to reflect, and really, really figure out what it was that makes me passionate. What is it that fuels my spirit and like really feeds me on a spiritual level? And that's when I came across life coaching. And I didn't really know what life coaching was. All I knew was that I wanted to inspire people. I wanted to support them in achieving their own sense of fulfillment and happiness. And so I started putting these videos out, these inspirational videos out on social media. And like at one point for that whole year, I was just like, daily message. Every single day, I would put out a daily message of inspiration. And I knew it would take me a little bit of time to actually build up my practice. But I would put out these videos, and I came across this really, really like well-renowned life coach by the name of Tony Robbins. And I heard his story about how one day he was on his way to his event. He was riding in his helicopter, and he looks down below and he sees all of this traffic. It's like miles and miles of traffic. And he had a thought to himself, and he was just like, wow, all this traffic, I hope it's not going to interfere with their ability to get to my event. Only to find out that all of those people, all of that traffic, was people on their way to see him. And I said, if I can make that kind of impact, I'm getting chills. Because that's what I want to do. I want to travel, sold out stadiums, arenas, for people from all over the world can come, not only to experience the value that I have to offer them, but for them to actually access their own inner wisdom and create a life that's suitable for them. And it's so crazy, like that mirror, that this mirror keeps coming up, like in different stages of my life, because now, instead of like me just being that one to speak life into myself, I can hold up that mirror for other people and be that mirror of possibility, like you can do this, you are great, you are amazing, so they can see who they are and who they have the potential to become. And so it's been an incredible journey so far of just like, being able to connect with different people. I have my coaching page on Facebook, and that's my way to like connect with people all over the world and just really just leave some value in the world. I think that's just what I want to do. Just leave value in the world, leave people better off than they arrived. And when I first started with life coaching, it was super confronting because I took a year-long coaching and leadership training program. And when I say you really have to face yourself and really just take a hard look at who you are and how you're being in the world and how you respond to certain situations. And like, that was a time for me to actually like shed my skin and be vulnerable. Like, even growing up, I was painfully shy. Even me just being up here and speaking to you, like, you couldn't pay me to speak. And now it's just like, it's incredible. That's really what I have for you guys. I don't know, I'm just happy to be here and be able to like open my heart and share what I love. And you know, like I said, this is my goal. This is actually my first speaking engagement. And my goal is to do more and like really just get out there and connect with people. And yeah, thank you.
Ashley also will take some questions. So I'm curious about how your coaching and your teaching inform each other.
Because teaching is hard. It is hard work. So like, what's been interesting for me is like how I'm able to not only come from teacher, but also come from coach. Because sometimes we have those kids who, they might lash out at you, and it gives you an opportunity to really see them in a different light and say, like, okay, what's beyond the problem? Like, a kid isn't just gonna lash out. There's something deeper that's going on. And so that's been the most incredible part about being able to merge that. Like, just being able to connect on a deeper level. Like, you're upset now, but I know there's something behind it. And even like my coworkers are saying, like, the toughest kids, the ones that like the other teachers don't want anything to do with, they're like, you're able to like just build that relationship. Like, how do you do it? And I said, it really just comes down to like relationship building and like getting to know them like outside of just the normal classroom, you know? And there are some kids that are just like, oh my gosh. As soon as you walk in, you can just tell they're just like, oh my gosh, why? You know, I don't want to deal with this kid. Like, why this kid have to be here in the classroom today? And I'm just like, you know, you don't know what they might be going through at home. So like, it might help to build that relationship outside.
So what are you curious about in Ashley's story? Do you have any questions?
Ashley, so I love the imagery of imagining like a younger you in the mirror and talking to yourself and giving those positive affirmations. It's such a great image to see, and it's really powerful. I was wondering if you were to bring yourself back to that place and be in that bathroom with the door shut, siblings waiting outside, looking at that mirror, and you saw Lily, or what was one of the names? I don't know if I heard correctly.
Ashley.
Ashley, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't know if you gave names, but if you were looking back and you saw the double mirror and you were talking, and that person was looking at you today, I was wondering what kind of message you think that person would tell you now, or that image.
I was looking in the mirror and that person was speaking back to me.
Yes.
I feel like it would say, thank you for believing in me. Thank you for trusting yourself enough to follow your dreams. Thank you for not giving up. Because there's sometimes, like, going back to the self-talk, sometimes, you know, you get in your head and you're like, I don't know, maybe I can't do this. Like, I probably talked myself out of coming here so many times, and it was just like, you know what, you have to do it. So thank you for just choosing yourself and listening to you for once.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
What was the most exciting time you and your imaginary friends ever had?
Oh, we had some conversations. I don't know. That's a good question. I haven't thought of that. I don't know, just
Was there like a
Just
school
chat
bully
it
or
up.
something? Or like a school bully they got you through or anything like that? Or
say it again.
was there ever like a school bully or something controversial that like your friends really helped you through?
Yeah, I don't have an answer for that. I'm sorry. That was a good question, though.
You talked about your mom's initial desire for you to go into the medical field. Have you talked to her about coaching? And I'm curious about what.
Yeah,
her
she's
response to that.
very supportive. Initially, she was a little hesitant because she's like, all right, what is this? Can you make money off that? what is a life coach? And now she's super supportive. Like, and because I do this thing called Magic Mondays, like where I do like video every Monday. And she's like sharing my videos. She's like, all right, you think you can help this person with your coaching thing? She don't even know what it is. But she's like, you think you can help this person? I think this person might need help. You know? So she's super supportive now. And like, I'm so happy about that. You know, I feel like so much of my life has been like trying to like gain approval and like step away from like my sister's shadow and stuff like that. So it's nice to just be my own person and to hear her say like, I'm proud of you.
Thank you so much. Sorry. You have another question up here?
What do you think is like the key difference between how your mom initially encouraged you to go into the medical field with, I'm sure, you know, good intentions of you thinking you'd be successful at it, and it would make you happy. What's the difference between that type of encouragement and what you try to do as a life coach? Like, how do you help someone maybe realize a bit more what they want to do rather than telling them what you think is best?
That's a good question. Actually, like when I'm with my clients, it's more so about what they want. So sometimes they'll come to me like, oh, what should I do? And I'm like, no, I'm not gonna tell you, you know? And like, I really just like ask them the right questions to help them draw out that inner wisdom. Because a lot of times we have the answers within us, but we're looking for other people to tell us. So I'm just like, I'm not gonna tell you. And you know, I've actually had a client like, oh, just tell me what to do. And I'm just like, no. And then, you know, I'll guide you and ask you questions, and we can put up like, we can set practice areas in service of that thing that you want. But
Can you give us an example of a question other than what is it that you want to do? Like what are the kinds of leading questions that you use to help get it?
Let's see. Sometimes I might, so for example, I had a coaching session with someone who she wanted to basically branch out from like her job and like start to pursue her passions. And so I just kind of asked her some questions like, okay, what can you use those talents? What are those talents that you have? How can you use those talents? Okay, now who can you talk to? Who can support you in those goals? Who do you know in this field that can support you? So just questions like that, and they just naturally start to answer them. And then like, it's beautiful when they have that aha moment, like, wait. They're like, see, you already had it within you all along. But it really just comes down to trusting yourself, you know?
Thanks.
Please join me in